Let's talk about lateinit and lazy. In Kotlin, normally properties should be initialized when declared. However, if we mark a property with the lateinit modifier, we are allowed to initialize the property later. Literally, it means we declare that I will initialize this property later. Not all properties can be marked with the lateinit. These are some rules to follow. Only var property can be lateinit. VAL properties are not able to be lateinit. Next, only class member properties or top-level properties are allowed to be lateinit. Constructor properties are not allowed to be lateinit either. If we define custom getter or setter to a property, the property is not allowed to be lateinit. Nullable properties are not allowed for lateinit either. If the property's data type is one of the primary data type like int, double, the property is not allowed to be lateinit. Let's test it out. Let's add a variable in the user class. Let's make it a string type. Normally, we have to initialize this class member variable. However, if we want to set the value later, we can add the lateinit modifier to the variable. So when we use the user class, we can initialize the value at this point. This is how to use the lateinit modifier. Next is lazy. Lazy is another way to put aside initialization when we declare a variable. In case of the lazy keyword, we set a by lazy block when we declare a property. And when we use the property, the initial value will be set by the lazy block. So we specify how to make an initial value when we declare, but the value is set when we use the property. Compared to the lateinit, lazy has almost no rules. Val properties can use lazy as well as var properties. Even primary constructors properties can use a lazy. Let's test it out. Let's add another property here. Make it a string property too. If we don't initialize it, as you can see, we got an error. But we are also allowed to add the lazy block. You can see an error in this lazy block, because the lazy block should return our initial value, which we haven't written yet. So if we write the return value, the error will disappear. Then when we use the property here, this lazy block will start and set the initial value to the property. Then you might ask yourself, do we really need to delay the initializations? Because we can initial it right away or make a property nullable instead. But the answer is yes, we do. Let's say we have a property. They shouldn't be null, but cannot be initialized yet. In particular, in case of dependency injection. This code snippet is from Android app code. This property shouldn't be null, and this value will be initialized by dependency injection later. Like this particular case, we need the lateinit or lazy modifiers. This is it for lateinit and lazy.